My wife tried to revoke our prenup after she got pregnant with her affair partner's child, so I made her regret it, and now she wants back after he ditched her. Hey everyone! Before we jump into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed the channel is losing some traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and it helps us keep bringing you awesome content. Your support means the world. Let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks so much. Now let's start the video. All right, Reddit, buckle up, because this one's a mess. I've been sitting on this story for a while, finally ready to share this clusterfuck of a situation. I, 34 male, met my wife, Jade, 31 female, at this tech startup where I was doing development work while she handled client relations. First time we really talked was during lunch break. I was debugging this nightmare of a blockchain project, probably looking like I was ready to throw my laptop out the window. She sits down, looks at my screen, and goes, "Your semicolon is missing on line 47. I nearly choked on my sandwich. In her words, I like talking to people more than talking to computers. Most people's eyes glaze over when I talk about my work, but she actually got it. Turned out she'd studied some computer stuff in college before switching majors. We ended up talking for 2 hours, way past our lunch break, about everything from bad sci-fi movies to our weird coffee preferences. She put cinnamon in hers, which I still think is strange. After that, we kept accidentally running into each other at the office coffee bar. You know how it goes. Suddenly you need coffee at exactly the same time every day. She'd bring me snacks during late work nights. I'd wait around to walk her to her car after evening meetings. Just those little things that mean something when you're getting to know someone. Our first real date was hilarious. We both showed up wearing basically the same outfit. Black shirt, jeans, to this fancy restaurant. Ended up ditching the place and getting street tacos instead. Sat in the park eating them and talking about our childhood dreams. She wanted to be an astronaut. I was convinced I'd be a professional video game tester. Real smooth, right? Things just clicked between us. We had the same weird sense of humor, both loved hiking, though she's way better at it than me, and shared this obsession with trying every new ramen place in the city. She'd drag me to yoga classes. I got her into playing video games. Fair trade, I'd say. Weekends became our thing. We'd try new breakfast spots, go hiking, or just chill at home watching movies. She had this thing about making pancakes every Sunday. Said it was her grandma's recipe. Even when they came out burnt, it was perfect. The proposal wasn't anything fancy. We were on one of our hikes, reached the top of this trail we'd been doing since we started dating, and it just felt right. She said yes, then immediately started planning how we'd tell our families. Her parents lived across the country, so we had to do this whole video call thing. Wedding was small and chill. Just close friends and family. No dramatic stuff, no crazy expenses. We both wanted something simple. The prenup came up during planning. Made sense since we both had our own things going on. Signed it without any drama, and moved on to more important stuff, like arguing about whether we should have chocolate or vanilla cake. We got both. First couple years were great. We had our routines. Morning gym sessions. Yeah, we were those people. Trying new recipes together, weekend adventures. She was amazing at finding cool places to explore, always planning these little surprise trips. I'd wake up to sticky notes with clues about where we were going that weekend. We were that annoyingly happy couple everyone probably hated. Both into fitness, both doing well at work, both actually enjoying married life. Posted those cheesy gym couple pics, shared our hiking photos, whole 9 yards. But hey, at least we weren't those startup couples who bring their dogs to work and name them after programming languages. Though I gotta admit, we did once seriously consider getting a cat and naming it Python. Thank God we didn't. Would have made everything that came later even more complicated. We weren't perfect, but we worked together. Of course we had arguments, but they were small, silly ones. That would end by me getting her favorite snacks. Also, we had this 5-year plan before having kids. Wanted to travel more, get settled in our careers, maybe buy a house in a better area. Everything was going according to plan. Looking back now, maybe it was too perfect. Like when something seems too good to be true, it usually is. So here's where things start getting weird. You know how in coding, bugs usually show up as these tiny things that make you go, that's probably nothing, until your whole system crashes? Yeah, that's basically what happened with my marriage. First weird thing was so small I almost wrote it off. Jade started pulling these crazy late hours at work, like way more than usual. Her company was prepping for IPO, so on paper, everything checked out. I mean, we both basically lived at our offices during crunch time anyway. But something felt off about these late nights. Used to be she'd message me updates. Random stuff like, "Kill me, this investor deck is trash." Or, "Pretty sure our CFO is actually a robot." Now? Radio silence. She'd come home at 10 p.m. looking like she'd just had the best day ever. Anyone who's done IPO prep knows you don't come home happy. You come home ready to throw your laptop into the sun. Then came these endless team-building events. Every other day it was some new thing. Strategy sessions, department mixers, client meetings. Again, startup culture, so not totally weird. But they were always last minute. Oh, forgot to tell you, big client dinner tonight. Or emergency strategy session. Don't wait up. The real sus thing was the phone behavior. See, we used to be those couples who had zero privacy settings with each other. Shared passwords, find my phone access, joint cloud storage, the works. We both trusted each other anyway, and it was better to share everything than risk getting locked out of accounts if something happened to one of us. Then suddenly she's treating her phone like it contains nuclear launch codes. Password changed, always face down, never more than an arm's length away. Said it was new company security policy because of the IPO. I brushed it off. The bathroom thing was what really set me off. We'd be having dinner, her phone would buzz, and boom, she's gone for 20 minutes. Always with the shower running. Said it was female stuff, if I asked. Look, I'm not totally clueless about women's health, but nobody needs to text in the bathroom with water running as cover noise every single night. Started noticing she'd get these calls during our gym sessions too. Would step outside for work emergencies right in the middle of our sets. Since when does marketing have 6 a.m. emergencies? Pretty sure no client ever died because you didn't answer their email during your deadlift. The weirdest part? She started getting super interested in my startup's progress. Like way more than usual. Always asking about our valuation, when we might go public, what our stock option structure looked like. She'd never cared about that stuff before. Her eyes used to glaze over when I talked about seed rounds and equity splits. Then I started seeing weird patterns on that joint cloud storage. Mass deletions of photos and messages. Regular purges of her email archives. Multiple new email accounts being added and removed. She probably thought I wouldn't notice because I handled the tech side on autopilot. But when you've managed someone's digital life for 3 years, you notice when patterns change. Even our shared calendar started looking sus. Lots of blank blocks marked internal meeting or client call, but with no other details. Used to be she'd put everything. Client names, meeting agendas, even which conference room she'd be in. Now, just empty blocks of time with generic labels. These were all classic signs of someone covering their tracks. But you know how it is. When you're in it, you make excuses. It's just IPO stress. She's pushing for that promotion. Startup culture is weird anyway. Your brain finds ways to explain away things that don't add up. Plus, she was still the same Jade in other ways. Still did meal prep with me on Sundays. Still talked about our future plans. Still sent me random memes about coding fails. It's like watching a program run fine but seeing weird errors in the log files. Everything looks okay on the surface, but you know something's not right in the background processes. Then comes the thing. Remember that 5-year plan I mentioned? Yeah, that went straight out the window one random Tuesday night. We were having our usual taco dinner. Don't judge, Taco Tuesday was our thing. And Jade just drops this bomb. I'm pregnant. Now, for normal couples, this would be champagne and celebration time. But here's the thing. We were religious about protection. Like multiple methods religious. Both agreed kids weren't happening until after specific career milestones. She wanted that C-suite position. I needed my startup to hit certain targets. We had actual spreadsheets about this stuff. But there she was, holding up a pregnancy test like she was trying to sell me a new iPhone feature. Isn't this exciting? She said. Except, it wasn't? Her voice had this weird pitch to it, like when someone's trying to convince themselves more than you. You know that tone people use when they're lying on their resume but have to sound confident in the interview? That. I tried playing it cool, asked all the right questions. When did she find out? How far along? What about all our plans? She had answers ready for everything, like she was going through a presentation deck. But something felt off. That's when the weird comments started creeping into our conversations. She'd casually mention how her coworker AITA, some exec's wife, just got this beach house in Malibu. Must be nice having joint assets, she'd say, real casual-like. Or how Kira from marketing was driving a new Tesla because her husband believes in sharing success with family. Every conversation somehow circled back to money and assets. How her friend's husband added her name to his startup equity. How another couple merged all their investments after having kids. Always these little hints dropped into random conversations, like she was testing the waters. The work stuff got even weirder. More late-night client meetings than ever. But now, they were with this specific group of executives and their wives. Always the same crowd, always very hush-hush about details. She'd come home talking about their amazing relationships and how they really understand modern marriage. One night, I'm up late coding, and she's passed out on the couch. Her phone lights up. Message from someone named Chase, saved with just a star emoji, real subtle. She wakes up and snatches the phone so fast. Started noticing patterns in her stories too. They weren't adding up. She'd say she was at dinner with Aisha, but Aisha's Instagram showed her in Vegas that night. Said she had lunch with the marketing team, but the office was closed that day for maintenance. Little inconsistencies piling up like deprecated code comments that don't match the actual function. The pregnancy symptoms were weird too. She'd use them as excuses to dodge questions, but forget which ones she was supposed to have. One day it's too nauseous to eat dinner with me, but her Instagram shows her at some fancy restaurant for a client meeting 2 hours later. She even started getting super protective about her medical appointments. Wouldn't let me come to any of them. Said it was too early, or the doctor was just doing routine stuff. Every time I tried asking questions, she'd flip it around. Called me controlling for wanting to be involved in appointments. Said I was stressing her out by asking about her work schedule. Classic gaslighting, but I didn't see it then. You know how code looks fine until you actually run it? Yeah, like that. All right, here's where she finally showed her cards. Jade had planned this whole fancy dinner at home. We're talking full production, candles everywhere, expensive takeout. Because suddenly her morning sickness meant she couldn't cook, even bought one of those fancy table runners you see in Instagram ads. She waited until I was halfway through my pasta before starting. You know, I've been thinking about our future, she said, doing that thing where she twirls her fork but doesn't actually eat anything. Now that we're having a baby, everything's different. I kept eating, waiting for her to get to the point. She had that look when she's about to ask for something big. I've been talking to my doctor, she continued, and with this pregnancy being high risk and all the stress at work, she thinks I should consider taking it easy. This was news to me. High risk? You didn't mention that before. Oh, it's just something we discussed at my last appointment, she said quickly. But it got me thinking. Maybe this is a sign I should focus on our family. You know, quit work, be a full-time mom. Now things were starting to make sense. What about all your career goals? I asked. You've been working toward that promotion for months. She waved it off like it was nothing. Plans change. But if I'm going to quit my job, we need to make some changes. Here it comes. We need to talk about the prenup. What about it? Well, if I'm staying home with the baby, I'm giving up my income, my career progression, everything. It's not fair to keep our finances separate anymore. We should revoke it. Merge everything. You know, as a family. I put down my fork. The prenup was your idea too, remember? That was different. We didn't know we'd be having a baby. I didn't know I'd need to quit my job. Don't you want what's best for our family? The prenup doesn't stop me from supporting our family, I said. We can figure out the financial stuff without changing it. That's when her tone shifted. So you don't trust me? After all this time? It's not about trust. We agreed on this for a reason. Things are different now. Her voice got that edge to it. I'm carrying your child, giving up my career, and you won't even consider it. I stayed calm. I think we should table this discussion until after the baby comes. Make decisions when we're not stressed about pregnancy. You just don't want to share what's yours, she snapped. Some partnership this is. The conversation went downhill from there. She got up, said she needed air, and disappeared into the garage with her phone. I sat there looking at all the candles, thinking about how much planning went into this whole scene. That's when things really started clicking. The sudden pregnancy despite our careful planning, the mysterious high-risk status she'd never mentioned before, the convenient timing of wanting to quit her job, the push to change our prenup. But here's what she didn't know. I was already running my own diagnostics in the background. All those weird patterns I mentioned? Yeah, I'd started digging deeper. And let me tell you, what I found made this whole prenup play make a lot more sense. Time to get technical. After that prenup dinner, I went full CSI mode. You know how they say never piss off a tech guy? Well, they definitely shouldn't try to scam one. First move, upgraded our home security. We're talking full coverage. Doorbell cam, garage cam, motion sensors, the works. Told Jade it was baby preparation and home safety. She bought it completely. See, here's the thing about being the household tech support. I knew every single one of our systems. Every backup, every cloud account, every shared drive. Jade had gotten sloppy. Probably thought I was too busy with my startup to notice. Classic user error. Remember that joint cloud storage I mentioned? Started with it. Pro tip, when you delete files from cloud storage, they don't just vanish. There's always traces, especially if you set up the system to keep automatic backups. So after some digging, I found hundreds of deleted WhatsApp backups. And well, look what I found. There he is. Enter our main character, Chase Matthews, Chief Marketing Officer at her company. Early 40s, Tesla driving, perfect hair having douche, who probably says, "Let's circle back," unironically. The messages started professional enough, talking about marketing strategies, team alignment, whatever. Then they got interesting. Late night strategy sessions turned into private brainstorming. Calendar invites for team alignment at some fancy restaurant downtown. Inside jokes about their special projects. Real subtle, guys. Real subtle. The security footage later caught Jade's 2 a.m. garage phone calls, where she thought the running car would cover the conversation. Those bathroom breaks during dinner, all perfectly timed with Chase's messages. I documented everything. Dates, times, message patterns. Made spreadsheets because I'm that kind of nerd. Cross-referenced her work meetings with the security camera footage of when she actually left and came back. The timestamps never matched her stories. But here's where it gets good. Found Chase's wife Zara on LinkedIn. Sent her this super casual message about confirming some company event dates. She replied within minutes. Turns out Chase had been working late on the exact same nights Jade had her emergency meetings. Zara and I met for coffee. She's actually a back-end developer at another tech company, way smarter than her husband. We compared notes like we were debugging a particularly nasty piece of code. Same patterns, same excuses, same sudden interest in team-building exercises. The real gold was in Jade's work laptop. Remember how I mentioned being household tech support? Yeah, she'd forgotten I had admin access from when I'd fixed her system last year. Found emails between her and Chase, discussing their future plans. Had a whole timeline mapped out. Here's the funny thing. Found messages with other executive wives too. They had this whole little group going, sharing tips about maximizing marriage benefits and securing assets. Real professional gold digger energy. They even had a shared document about prenup loopholes. Not even kidding. The camera system caught all sorts of fun stuff, like Chase dropping Jade off a block away so she could walk home like she'd taken an Uber, or their totally accidental run-ins at the gym when I was stuck in early meetings. Basic tradecraft, but they thought they were being so clever. Even caught some interesting conversations between Jade and her new mom friends in the garage. All wives of executives. All suddenly very interested in our startup's potential valuation. They'd talk about their investment strategies, basically comparing notes on how to get their hands on their husband's assets. Jade got sloppy with her phone too. Started using this app that auto-deleted messages, but forgot it still showed up in the backup logs. Amateur hour. Plus, she'd sometimes screenshot conversations to show her friends, forgetting that Google Photos backed everything up automatically. All this time, I just played dumb. Kept working on my startup, hitting the gym, acting totally normal. Even asked innocent questions about her new friends, letting her dig herself deeper with lies. The more rope you give people, right? The hardest part was keeping my cool during dinner, when she'd tell these stories about where she'd been. I'd sit there knowing exactly where she actually was, thanks to location data and security footage. After weeks of collecting enough dirt to bury someone twice over, it was time for the big reveal. I'd planned everything down to the last detail because, let's be real, if you're gonna blow up your life, might as well do it right. Picked a regular Tuesday evening. Nothing special about Tuesdays, except Jade had just gotten back from another one of her late meetings. She was in a great mood, probably thinking she was the smartest person alive. You know that smug look people get when they think they're totally getting away with something? Yeah, that one. Waited until she'd settled in on the couch, still in her work clothes, probably typing out her nightly working late message to her girlfriend group chat. We need to talk. Once she paid attention, I continued. I want a paternity test. The way her face changed, holy shit. Paternity test? Her voice went up like 3 octaves. What are you talking about? Then came the show. I swear she had a whole script ready. Started throwing around all these buzzwords like she was playing modern relationship bingo. This is toxic masculinity. You're being controlling. I can't believe you don't trust me. These trust issues are concerning. You're stressing out a pregnant woman. I just sat there, cool as a cucumber, watching her perform. When she finally ran out of steam, I pulled out my laptop. Actually, I said, I've got some interesting bedtime reading for you. Started with the basics. WhatsApp messages between her and Chase. The timestamps of her work emergencies, matching perfectly with her garage phone calls. The hotel receipts. The deleted photos that weren't so deleted after all. These coffee meetings look intense, I said, scrolling through. Didn't know marketing meetings needed this many heart emojis and winky faces. Very professional. She tried interrupting, but I was on a roll. Pulled up the security footage of Chase's car dropping her off around the corner from our place. Parking a block away like teenagers trying not to get caught. Oh, and this is my favorite part, I said, pulling up one specific conversation. This chat where you and Chase talk about everything going according to plan right after you tried to get me to cancel our prenup. Subtle. With each new piece of evidence, watching her try to explain it away was like watching really bad improv. Those messages are fake. They weren't. You're invading my privacy. I can explain everything. This should be good. It's not what it looks like. It was exactly what it looked like. Finally pulled out the big one. About that paternity test. We're doing it. Today. Already scheduled it. You can't force me, she started, but I cut her off. Actually, you already agreed to it. Pulled out the form she'd signed last week, buried in a stack of routine pregnancy paperwork. Page 3, paragraph 2. Pro tip, maybe read what you're signing next time? I just kept going through the evidence. Oh, and want to explain these charges from the hotel near Chase's office? Or maybe these cute little plans you made with your friends about how to secure assets before the baby comes? She went from rage to ghost white. You could literally see the moment she realized her whole house of cards was collapsing. Then she went nuclear. Full meltdown mode. Started screaming about how I'd tricked her, manipulated her, betrayed her trust, called her mom crying about how emotionally abusive I was being. Rich, coming from someone who was literally trying to scam me. Here's how this is gonna go, I said. You cooperate with the divorce, this stays quiet. Try to fight it, and every executive at your company gets copies of these messages, including the ones about your little prenup scam club. She went silent real quick and agreed. The divorce was a thing of beauty. I'm talking smooth, clean, and absolutely devastating. Just like we all wish our ex's downfalls would be. That paternity test hit like a truck. 0% chance I was the father. The doctor actually did it twice to be sure. But yeah, all those late meetings with Chase had been real productive. Can't say I was surprised, but man, seeing it in black and white on official paperwork, different kind of pain. It still hurt that I wasted all these years with a woman who couldn't be loyal. The one I thought would build a future with me, but she made her choices. My life won't stop because of a cheating ex-wife anyways. But here's where that prenup Jade wanted to cancel came in clutch. Turns out having an infidelity clause is pretty handy when your wife's been playing marketing manager with her boss. My lawyer actually laughed when he saw my evidence folder. Most guys come in with a couple angry texts and a hunch, he said. You brought me a whole documentary. Well, yeah, call me a nerd, but I like things beautifully arranged, even divorce papers. The judge was not impressed with Jade's poor little pregnant wife act, especially when my lawyer started pulling up evidence. Those hotel receipts matching her work emergencies? The group chats with other wives about how to secure the bag through marriage? Her whole face just kept dropping lower and lower. She walked away with exactly what she came in with. Her salary, her personal stuff, and that's it. All those stock options she'd been eyeing? Mine. The house she'd already started buying baby furniture for? Mine. Bought it before marriage, and thank God we live in California. The investment accounts she'd been planning to split? Didn't even get to peek at them. But here's where life gets interesting. Remember Zara, Chase's wife? We kept meeting up to compare notes during our divorces. Started as just update sessions over coffee, turned into actual dinners. Turns out we had a lot in common, beyond just being burned by our exes. First time we really talked about stuff besides our trash spouses, we ended up closing down the restaurant. She's actually hilarious, has this super dry sense of humor, and takes exactly zero shit from anyone. Plus, she gets all my bad jokes. We started dating right after the divorce. Things developed pretty naturally after that. Both of us knew what to watch out for. Both had learned our lessons the hard way. We started doing normal couple stuff, trying new restaurants, weekend trips, arguing about what shows to watch. She's got terrible taste in movies, but nobody's perfect. But Karma's got a sense of humor. About a month ago, I'm making dinner, trying out a new recipe because apparently I cook now. And there's a knock at the door. It's Jade, looking like she hasn't slept in weeks. Turns out Prince Charming wasn't exactly Father of the Year material. Chase ghosted her 3 months after the baby came, barely pays his child support, ignores most of her calls, and apparently got caught trying to run the same scam with some new girl at their company. She came crawling back with the whole "I've changed" speech, talking about how she made a huge mistake. He's not who I thought he was, she said, eyes tearing up. Nothing like you. Wow, well that's tough, I replied, face completely neutral. What exactly do you want from me, Jade? I've had a lot of time to think. About us, about what I did. I made the biggest mistake of my life. Which part? The cheating, the lying, or trying to scam me out of my assets? Nothing matters to me anymore. I almost laughed. Let me get this straight. Your backup plan fell apart, so now you're back to plan A? It's not like that, she insisted. I've realized what's really important. Family. Trust. The things we talked about building together. Then Zara walks up behind me. We were heading out for dinner. And I swear I heard Jade's brain short circuit. The look on her face, like someone just told her they were canceling online shopping forever. Her whole face did this journey from sad puppy to shocked to absolute fury in about 2 seconds flat. You and her? Jade's voice went up about 3 octaves. Are you kidding me right now? Zara just stood there, looking more amused than anything. How could you? With her? Of all people? That's so messed up. Not gonna lie, I was enjoying her getting pissed a bit too much. It's betrayal. It's backstabbing. You two planned this all along, didn't you? While we were still married? El Mao. The gaslighting again. Rich coming from Mrs. I got screwed by my boss. Shh. Jade, you are someone else's problem now. You should go. Don't bother showing up again because you know, me and Zara have a busy schedule here. Beg someone else to co-parent with you. Oh, I almost forgot. Congratulations on becoming a single mom. Smiled and shut the door in her face. We could hear her having a meltdown in the hallway, but honestly, we were too busy laughing about how life works out sometimes. These days, things are pretty good. Got a new place in a better neighborhood, doing well at work, and actually happy for once. Zara and I are taking things slow. We both learned that lesson the hard way, but it's good. Real good. The best part? We actually make sense together. She's my best friend who also happens to want to make out with me. We are generally enjoying life. It's what I thought I had with Jade, except this time it's real. Last I heard, Jade's trying to take Chase to court for more child support. Chasing Chase, lol. He's apparently moved to Austin with that new girl I mentioned. Guess some people never learn. Well, sucks to suck. Not my problem. Edit. Holy crap, this blew up. Thanks for all the awards and DMS. Yes, Zara and I are still together. No, we're not rushing into marriage. We're taking things slow.